Hello and welcome to the talkSPORT Goals preview show brought to you by Final One Standing. It's new from William Hill, 18 plus, gambleaware.org. I'm Sam Ellard and joining me to look ahead to the weekend's Premier League action is Lee Phelps from William Hill. And I should say, a very happy Lee Phelps. Recording this on a Thursday morning, Grimsby supporting Lee Phelps.
Oh, what's unbelievable. It's one of those, when they were 2-0 up, I didn't go to the game, shame, I know, but I've got like a lot of friends. My brother-in-law was there on posting pictures on Facebook from the game, and the 2-0, I just thought, like, we didn't look like losing the 2-0 lead, and then when the goal went in, it's like penalty shootout. Unbelievable. Yes, I've lived it kind of vicariously through my friends on Facebook, but amazing, yeah. And a trip to Hillsborough, that's big for us.
Yeah, there we go. Sheffield Wednesday, big club. Yeah, well done to Grimsby. And we'll talk about Man United very shortly. But yeah, over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll take a look at the weekend's fixtures, try and pick out some interesting markets and try and find some value bets for you all for the weekend. Let's start with Chelsea-Fulham. It's the Saturday 12:30 kickoff. Chelsea 4 points from 2. Last Friday, thumping West Ham 5-1 and without Cole Palmer. Fulham 2 draws from their first 2 games. Fulham won this exact fixture 2-1 last season, ending a 21-game winless streak away to Chelsea in all competitions. Perhaps a player to look out for Chelsea, João Pedro, has been involved in 6 goals in his last 4 games for the club in all competitions. Lee, are the odds pointing towards a Chelsea win here?
Yeah, not surprisingly. Yeah, you'd expect that at home. And I thought there'd be more picks for Chelsea in Final One Standing this week. This is the game where you've got to get your picks in by 12:30 for the next round. Whether you're in the 500k jackpot game or one of the 50k jackpots, must get the picks in by 12:30. We lost a few last week because they didn't get the picks in time. Get them in by 12:30. I'm going Chelsea. I thought there'd be a lot more people picking Chelsea here. Like, we've watched both of Fulham's games so far together on talkSPORT Goals, and they've been all right, haven't they? They came on strong both times in the last 10 to 15 minutes. So that's something to look out for here. I think it could be a little bit late. Too little too late in this one. They've allowed 20 shots on goal versus Brighton and Man United, and I think only a lack of clinical finishing from the Seagulls and from Man United has helped Fulham out. Chelsea scored 5 goals from 7 shots on target against West Ham. And although they drew a blank against Palace, they only had 2 shots on target at that. So you look at that, they're doing pretty well in terms of converting shots into goals. As you mentioned, Fulham did win at the Bridge in a really open game last year. Muniz and Wilson scoring off the bench. That was the first game in 7 at the Bridge that they'd actually scored a goal. Incidentally, if you were watching us on Goals last Sunday, we spoke about Fulham leading the league last season with 17 goals from substitutes. Both have come from the bench this season as well. So if you're looking at impact sub, you're looking to have a bet on a Fulham player, impact sub comes in where the player who replaces them comes on and carries your bet on. João Pedro, 2 assists already. Look out for him to be involved in the epic boost for the 12:30 game. I'd be sticking him in a bet builder. Sasa Lukic goes in for over 3 fouls or even a yellow card. 7 fouls in 2 games so far. But for me, it's a Chelsea win and both teams to score. I think they'll win 3-1.
Yeah, I've gone for Chelsea in my Final One Standing, by the way. I went City and Arsenal first 2 weekends. And yeah, I like Chelsea here home to Fulham. I think Chelsea look really, really good on Friday night, play some really good football. I know West Ham weren't the strongest of opposition, but they looked really good going forward. And yeah, I like Fulham as a team. I just sometimes think they lack that sort of cutting edge in the final third. So yeah, I like Chelsea at home, and they're going in my Final One Standing. Lead to the 3 p.m. games. Old Trafford. What's the atmosphere going to be like at Old Trafford for Man United thankfully not Grimsby, Man United v Burnley. United still searching for their first league win of the season, and they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup by your lot Grimsby. Back to league action. I mean, this stat here I find remarkable. Ruben Amorim has managed Manchester United in 28 matches against current Premier League teams. He's overseen 4 wins. It's a win percentage rate under 14.5%. 2 of those wins came in his first month in charge. Match odds shortly, Lee, but no surprise. I see you tweeting about it. Next manager odds have changed drastically over the last 24 hours within regards to Ruben Amorim.
Yeah, he was 22-1 to be the first Premier League manager to lose his job on Monday. Midway through the game, he was being backed. And then by the end of the game, he went 4-1. Woken up this morning and he's into 13-5. He's still the third favourite, by the way. Graham Potter 11-8. Nuno is 2-1. I mean, look, terrible result at Blundell Park against Grimsby, admittedly, but you can we see shocks in cup competitions. The players aren't quite up to it, or up for it, should I say, because they're going in against an inferior team. All that goes in. By the time you know what's going on, you're 2 down. It's hard to then turn it back on again. So that can be excused. Not winning a game going into the international break, I think, will be fairly inexcusable when they've played Fulham and this game against Burnley. Now, they're top of the William Hill power rankings going into the weekend, which we use for final one standing. Over 40% of players, as we record this, have picked Manchester United. Now, you can edit your picks before you get to 12:30 Saturday, by the way, so I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to be intrigued to see how many people just have another look and go, I'm not sure. There's 74% chance of winning as we record this game. They've struggled to convert chances, as we've seen, and I think confidence is fast disappearing. Like, Burnley didn't carry that great championship defence into the away game at Tottenham. We saw that. I just think the main focus this week, as I think it was last week, will have been we shut Man United out and we take a point like they did last time they went to Old Trafford. 2024, it was 1-1. The draw, just under 4-1. Without getting too niche betting here, Burnley plus a goal, so you get the draw and the away win, is over 2-1. I think confidence is decent after their League Cup performance, and I'm willing to trust that Burnley get a result at Old Trafford at just over 2-1.
Okay, so lots of people then are going to be out of final one standing. I thought Ruben Amorim, him sat in the dugout, not even watching the penalties. It didn't look a great look. Listening and watching some of his interviews after the game.
It's just another meme, isn't it? Another meme, Sam. Another meme for them that he just kind of ridicules him almost. Then his interview afterwards. If you'd have been interviewing him, Sam, after the game like you do in your other roles, what would you have thought to his responses?
I'm going to say, I'll be honest with you, he looked and sounded like a beaten man a little bit. He almost looked and sounded like a man that's just short of ideas, that's run out of ideas, that doesn't think he's got the players good enough. He doesn't think, he almost maybe has lost a little bit of faith in himself. Look, listen, he just lost to Grimsby. He's going to be down understandably. But my initial reaction was, watching his interviews, he looked like a man that is almost just running out of ideas, Lee.
Yeah, exactly that. And obviously that's why the odds have shortened dramatically. And we knew these markets can fluctuate, but yeah, if they don't get a result against Burnley and they go into that international break with 2 points or maybe even 1 point, God forbid, for Man United fans, then it's going to be interesting.
It will be indeed. Yeah, Man United Burnley a 3 o'clock kickoff. Spurs Bournemouth another 3 p.m. kickoff. While Spurs fans making their opinions heard to Daniel Levy about a lack of transfer activity, missing out on Morgan Gibbs-White in Eze. On the pitch, though, so far so good. A win at home to Burnley, and last weekend a really good performance. Great tactical display away at Man City. Bournemouth 1 defeat and 1 win this season. Bournemouth have earned more points in their 6 games against Spurs since returning to the Premier League in 2022 than they did in 10 games in their first stint between 2015 and 2020. So Bournemouth got a decent record against Spurs. And I think this could be a cracking game, Lee. An opening game like Liverpool-Bournemouth, where we saw 6 goals in this game. And I'm predicting plenty of goals in this game as well.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. 2 of the Premier League's most influential players so far, Antoine Semenyo and Richarlison. Semenyo has contributed to 67% of Bournemouth's goals. Richarlison's been excellent. We've watched him a lot, haven't we? They've got strength off the bench as well, so it might be a good one to back the Brazilian to score or have a shot on target. You get the impact sub running for you there. When you break this down, I agree with you. I think there will be goals. I think both teams to score is a really good way in. The Cherries have had 42 shots on goal across league and cup, that is. 11 on target. Only 3 goals have come from them. Spurs had 28 shots on goal, 11 on target, and 5 goals. So just a slightly better, and it just makes me think, I think Spurs will have more shots in this game. I think they'll win out in the end. 2-1, 3-1 maybe. Cards are worth a look as well. 6 in this game last season, and Simon Hooper has got the whistle, and he's the most card-happy ref so far this season. I know it's early days, but 10 yellows and 1 red so far in his 2 games that he's officiated in. So if you're looking at a bet builder, maybe chuck in cards and goals, and I think Spurs come out on top.
Yeah, Simon Hooper did have Newcastle, Liverpool, didn't he, on Monday night? So Perhaps, to be fair, we should give him a little bit of leeway maybe with the cards there, because that felt like a tough game to referee. Two more 3 o'clock games on Saturday. Sunderland v Brentford. Sunderland back at home, kicking off their season with a win against West Ham before losing to Burnley. They were poor last weekend. Brentford also have 3 points. They beat Villa last weekend. And Wolves v Everton. Wolves, one of just 2 teams still on 0 points, along with West Ham. So Sunderland, Brentford, Wolves, Everton. Do any bets stand out to you, Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I think the boring, isn't it? But I think the draw in both teams to score in Sunderland, Brentford. Sunderland have got quite a lot of injuries. Danny Ballard's out injured now. He got injured against Burnley. I was impressed by Dango Ouattara in the last game. Brentford. He maybe worth a look at shots on target. Had 2 both on target against Aston Villa. Yeah, I think the draw in that one. Wolves, Everton. 2 good games for Everton at Hill Dickinson. I know the midweek they had to win that really, but not sure they should be the price they are at Molineux. We really enjoyed watching Jack Grealish last week, didn't we? Played 60 minutes in the week as well. If he's up against Matt Doherty, I'd look at a card for the Wolves fullback. 2 already, and a confident Grealish will be well up for this. So yeah, I like Matt Doherty to pick up a card in that one. And Sunderland, Brentford, let's go. Score, draw on both teams to score.
Yeah, the team I predicted to struggle before the season was Wolves. They lost a lot of good players and experienced players in the summer. And just you mentioned Potter, Nuno, Amorim, the 3 favourites in terms of being next manager or first manager to lose their job. Just out of interest, what's the Wolves manager, Vitor Pereira?
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask that. He's 16-1.
Yeah.
I mean, Daniel Farke is 14-1. He's before him, so 16-1 for Pereira. He's probably just. I mean, obviously they beat West Ham in the week, didn't they, in the cup? So maybe just got a bit. They're a difficult side to predict, Wolves, aren't they? Because they could turn Everton over here, and we wouldn't be going, oh wow, it'd just be, oh, that's a good result for Wolves. The back they'll have a little run, won't they, where they'll get a couple of wins and 3 draws, and suddenly they're okay, and then they'll go on a bad losing run. So hard to predict.
Yeah, interesting. We'll keep an eye out on Vitor Pereira. I think that possibly that could be maybe a decent shout. But Everton, I think, quietly building a pretty exciting team. Grealish, Dibbling, and Dye, Alcaraz, Dewsbury Hall. If the new signing, Barry, can settle in and score goals, I think they could be a fun and interesting team to watch this season. This is the talkSPORT Goals Preview Show, brought to you by Final One Standing, new from William Hill. 18 plus, gambleaware.org. This is the talkSPORT Goals Preview Show, brought to you by Final One Standing, is new from William Hill, 18 plus, gambleaware.org. I'm Sam Ellard, and with me to look ahead to the weekend's Premier League action is Lee Phelps from William Hill. We've done the first 5 games of the weekend. Let's now go to the 5:30 game, Leeds v Newcastle, and I'm sure many people around the footballing world would have enjoyed Monday Night Football. Great game. Newcastle so unlucky to lose at home to Liverpool, despite playing so well with 11 men, and then really well with 10 men. Isak not going to be there this weekend, and Anthony Gordon as well, who was playing as a 9, is going to be suspended. And we know Newcastle haven't signed a new number 9. So come on then. Lee Phelps, Will Osula leading the line. Was on him being first goal scorer.
Yeah, this is the problem with the game, though, to be honest with you, for me. I fancy Leeds here. And I've said that to a few people, and they've kind of gone, what? Got battered by Arsenal. They lost at Sheffield Wednesday, but I know they lost at Wednesday, and that is a poor result. But as we said about Man United, you can go to these places, and it was a horrible atmosphere. There was hardly any fans there really. I think that injury crisis is a problem for Newcastle. No Share. This is as we record. No Joe Linton. No Tonali. Gordon out, Isak out, of course, as you said. Now, those players that I've just listed, take out Isak, obviously, they account for 16 of their 26 shots so far this season. And we've seen them play live on goals. They aren't even scoring goals, that many goals with those players in the team. And all right, they scored 2 against Liverpool. I think that was a heightened performance because of what was going on. We saw the atmosphere there, it was incredible. But for me, I wanted Leeds to be a bigger price than they are, admittedly, at home against Newcastle, but I still think they can win this. I think a resolute Leeds, home defence, home crowd behind them, I think Leeds can win this, and it's about 9-4 as we record this. Like I say, I would like it a little bit bigger than that, but Asulo is 9-2 to score first, and 9-5 to score at any time. I'm not confident. I think Leeds could win this to nil. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-0 Leeds.
So to Sunday then, Brighton v Man City. Brighton looking for their first win of the season. City looking to bounce back from last weekend's home defeat to Spurs. Between 2017 and 2024, Brighton only avoided defeat in 2 or 14 Premier League games against Man City. And both of those games were last season. They didn't lose against City, winning 2-1 at home and drawing 2-2 at the Etihad. So, Lee, I'm assuming of course City are favourites, but perhaps not as short as what they might normally be, given how inconsistent they have been over the last kind of few months.
No, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, perfect summary, I think, of the situation. I think they're probably a little too short, maybe. I mean, like, when I look at the price of City, they're a touch of odds on. And, I think they should be bigger than that, really. And look, and that's nothing against Brighton, but I'm not sure Brighton are where they have been in previous seasons. City, around a 55% chance of winning this. Come on, I think City, if, I know it's a big if because we've only seen them play twice and one was very good away at Wolves and one was very poor at home to Tottenham. But if they replicate what they had at Wolves, this is one of those where you're scratching your head afterwards going, oh, why didn't I back them? Erling Haaland's got a great record against them, 5 goals, 1 assist in his 5 games against the Seagulls. Look out for, epic boost around this game as well. As you mentioned, 2-2 and 2-1 Brighton in the last 2 games. I mean, like, it's going to be a passing masterclass, isn't it, this one? I just wonder, like, when we think about this game tactically, we know what Man City are going to do. We know what Man City are going to press, and they're going to try and, find a way around this, Brighton team. Brighton will be relying on Mitoma and Minter as a way to get out, because I don't think they'll be able to compete with Man City in midfield. They'll have it at the back, and they'll try and hit long. Now, I guess if you're looking at a bet builder, shots on target from Mitoma and Minter, because they'll have to do that. There won't be that much support coming for them. And if Rodri's back in that midfield, how much does that strengthen Manchester City? Look, I know Brighton are dangerous, and I know they're good at home, but I'm going City to put in an Aka here. You get Aka boost with William Hill, so 4 or more picks activates it, and then it gets bigger, the boost, as you put more in. City are going in my Aka on Sunday. I think they'll win, and I think when we're setting that goal studio, again, we'll finish it and go, oh, that was easier than we thought it was going to be for City.
Yeah, I'm really boring when it comes to City. Even when they were really struggling last season, I always find it hard to not back Man City. So I fancy City again this weekend. So that's a 2:00 game on Sunday, as is Nottingham Forest v West Ham. Big pressure on Graham Potter. Lost away to Sunderland, hammered at home by Chelsea, out with a cut by Wolves in the week. And perhaps the most worrying stat is since Graham Potter's first Premier League game in charge of West Ham on the 14th of January this year, no ever-present side have picked up fewer points than the Hammers, which is 20. And since the start of March, they've won just 2 out of 13 games. Lee, it is just not looking good for the Hammers. They're damning stats.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they go into the international break with a loss here, West Ham are pointless. And they've got tough games on the other side as well. They play Tottenham on the other side of the international break. So you could be staring down the barrel of 4 Premier League games, 0 points on the table. Forest go in that Aka I was talking about, the touch of odds on, but, nothing that scares me really. I like Callum Hudson-Odoi. He's got 2 in 2 versus the Hammers at the home ground. Already scored this season. You look at the actual stats around West Ham. They've allowed their opponents 41 shots on goal, 17 on target in their games so far this season. If they allow Chris Wood chances, he'll score. He's averaging 1 in 2 this season. That's 1 goal every 2 shots, and it was 1 in 3 last Premier League season. If they allow him those kind of shots on goal, those opportunities, he scores. So I think Chris Wood goes in your bet if you're putting a bet builder together. I wonder about West Ham and their discipline. We saw what happened with Jared Bowen and obviously the crowd. Things are starting to really, really crack at West Ham, aren't they, this early on? The media is really piling onto them, and the manager's under pressure. So Forest to win. I'll be putting West Ham cards in there and Chris Wood on the score sheet.
Good stuff. Lead to the big game then of the weekend. Needs no introduction, does it? Liverpool, Arsenal, 2 title favourites. Talk us through the big game odds.
Yeah, I mean, what a game this is. I mean, it almost feels too early in the season to have this, doesn't it? But as we record right now, Liverpool 6-5, Arsenal 11-5 over 2-1. But I have to give you the draw price, which is 12-5, because last 3 at Anfield have been score draws between these 2 teams. I'm interested to see tactically what Arsenal do here. You know, against you looked at them against Manchester United, and they offensively didn't look too great, but they just controlled the game. Did they go to Anfield and try and control the game and almost try and do like a Mourinho kind of tactic and just get the point and do not lose? It's one for a bet builder, because even if they try and do that, we've seen from Liverpool so far this season that they score and concede goals, don't they? If you take the Community Shield in as well, 3-2, 4-2, 3-2. I mean, it's crazy. And both teams to scores landed in the last 6 head-to-heads between Liverpool and Arsenal as well. And we've seen big, 4 goals in games, haven't we? So it's difficult to see Arsenal being able to do what I suggested. My question here is that Salah's got a great record against Arsenal, 11 goals versus them. We've spoken already this season about Gyökeres. Is he a flat track bully or not? Now, we saw him play against Leeds, and this time last week we were saying he must score against Leeds. But can he score against the big team, Sam? That's a question for me here. And I just think, will Liverpool, in the end, just have too many goals for Arsenal if it's a pure shootout? I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I was doing an Inside Liverpool show on talkSPORT's YouTube channel. It's up and available if you want to watch it, with Danny Murphy and Jermaine Pennon. And interesting, McAllister and Gravenberch haven't started a game together, haven't been on the pitch together since the game that Liverpool won the Premier League last season. So it's been a long time since they've been together. And you're absolutely right to say, from a Liverpool point of view, it's been really concerning as to how open Liverpool have been, and the lack of control has been a major concern. I mean, even Monday night, I know it was a tough game, tough atmosphere, intense atmosphere, but Newcastle had 10 men and had no real point in that game. Even when Liverpool were 2-0 up, Liverpool offer any sort of control on the game of football. So McAllister should be back this weekend for Liverpool. So I think if Liverpool can get McAllister and Gravenberch back in the midfield together, possibly with Szoboszlai back in his preferred position and a bit more of a 4-3-3 formation as opposed to a 4-2-3-1. I think Liverpool will be hoping, Lee, for a bit more control of the game, and therefore maybe they'll be hoping anyway less goals.
Yeah, no, I see that. I think if I was having to pick a bet out of the 3 options, I think I would go draw, and I think I would go score draw. I like Salah, like I said. I think it'll be a great game. And I think we'll learn a lot about these 2 teams from this game, won't we? But yeah, score draw. Draw on both teams to score is my pick.
Yeah, I like that. I think the draw looks perhaps the right bet there. Also, by the way, if you think the Premier League weekend is done at Sunday 6:30 when that game's finished at Anfield, you are absolutely incorrect. We have a Sunday 7 p.m. kickoff. Not entirely sure about Sunday night football. It feels like Sunday night at 7 p.m. is the time where you switch off from football, maybe get a takeaway, watch something on Netflix and move on. But hey, we have Villa v Palace, and both Villa and Palace are looking for their first win of the season.
Yeah, watched both of Villa's games, and there's something not quite right there. Now, I get it. At any given point, Aston Villa could just click into gear, and all the good players could score, but they're not creating enough chances for me. They look pedestrian as far as I'm concerned. And Crystal Palace have got a good record against Villa. Beat them in the FA Cup. This was at their place, admittedly. 3-0 last season, 4-1 in the Premier League last season. It was 2-2 at Villa Park. Villa won in the EFL the season before that at Villa Park as well. Beat them 5-0 at their place as well. So they've got a really good record in recent years. And at 3-1, I think Palace are just too big a price at Villa, given what Villa are doing. There won't be many goals in this game. Look at Villa, they can't score. Lost 1-0 to Brentford, 0-0 against Newcastle. Palace 1-1 against Forest. They won 1-0 in the qualifiers against Fredrikstad. 0-0 against Chelsea. The only team that scored goals against is Liverpool, ironically. But yeah, low scoring. Palace win 1-0, 3-1.
There we go. Good stuff. Lee Phelps, thank you very much. We're going to be reunited together on Sunday afternoon. We're going to bring you a talkSPORT Goal show from 2 p.m. Until 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. So, of course, we'll be watching the Liverpool-Arsenal game with you, and plus the 2 o'clock games as well. So, Lee, thank you very much. Good stuff. And I'll see you Sunday. Make sure you wear your Grimsby top.
Oh, yeah. Good luck.
This has been the talkSPORT Goals preview show, brought to you by Final One Standing. It's new from William Hill, 18+. Gamble.org. talkSPORT Goals Sunday live from 2 o'clock.